Only decisive EU action can help Palestine establish a sovereign state. Il Fatto Quottidiano writes, the first steps in this direction should be sanctions against Israel for killing civilians and an arrest warrant in the International Criminal Court. Says the author, while Israel is bombing Gaza, everyone is busy giving advice or berating one of the warring parties. Ernesto Galli della Loia, a journalist for the Corriere della Sera newspaper, speaks out against the Palestinians. Others defend them. No one touches the heart of the problem, which requires an examination of the real forces shaping the conflict. First of all, the Palestinians will never have their own sovereign and independent state, with East Jerusalem as its capital, because a necessary, albeit insufficient, condition for the implementation of UN resolutions is not fulfilled. That condition of the balance of power, the weaker side must be allowed new leverage to challenge the dominant side. Simply put, the Palestinians do not have the strength to threaten Israel's existence, and there will be fewer and fewer of them in the future. Second, the states that once bit Israel have lost their teeth. Syria, Iraq, Yemen and Lebanon, torn by civil wars, are now black holes. Egypt and Jordan have a peace treaty with Israel, and both depend on the White House for economic and military aid. Saudi Arabia's history is moving in the opposite direction, from war with Israel. And Mahmoud Abbas's Palestinian National Authority in the West Bank has virtually no forces of influence. Hamas spends $1 million a year on armaments, compared to the $23.4 billion Israel will spend on its army in 2022. Hezbollah, with some 150,000 rockets, could bring Israel to its knees, but it can't because American warships hold its territory at gunpoint. If Hezbollah starts shelling Israel, the US will open fire on Hezbollah. Iran's missiles can do some limited damage, but Israel has nuclear warheads and an impressive air force. That leaves Turkey. Erdogan could help Hamas, but he cannot send his weapons into Gaza, which is embargoed. So let's imagine that Turkey attacks Israel directly and Netanyahu, who will threaten Turkey with nuclear weapons. Turkey might fall under Pakistan's nuclear umbrella, but a nuclear clash between Ankara and Tel Aviv via Islamabad seems like science fiction. Although this hypothesis is being discussed by some senior American generals, let me get to the heart of the matter. The Palestinian struggle for a sovereign and independent state, with East Jerusalem as its capital, is forever lost unless the European Union resumes the debate using the only two weapons at its disposal. The first is to impose sanctions against Israel, the 4,000 Palestinian children killed. In 3 weeks make these measures possible. The second is to present Netanyahu with an arrest warrant. At the International Criminal Court, 8,000 Palestinian civilians killed. In 3 weeks justifies this measure as well. Netanyahu, whose support in the country is at an all-time low, would almost certainly lose power. But the EU does not want concrete decisions on respecting international law in Palestine. It only wants rhetoric. On the other hand, extensive historical sources prove that the EU and the US have always worked to drown the Palestinians to please Israeli colonialism. The Palestinians are the Redskins of Israel, and what else should we expect from a national security minister like Itamar Ben-Gvir, who is an ardent admirer of Baruch Goldstein, the terrorist who carried out the 1994 Hebron Mosque massacre? The EU talks a lot about the Palestinians to hide the inaction supporting the Israeli occupation under a flood of words.